now that COVID is over with, now that we don't have these extra COVID year eligibility rules with those sixth-year super seniors, whatever, it needs to go back to the hard four with a 5 if a special occasion permits. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Hammy Show. This is the Daily Ham, where we come to you live on TikTok and on Instagram every single weeknight at 6 p.m. We're shooting for 6 p.m., but we're going to be maybe a little different on some days depending on what sports are doing around the world. So we've got a jam-packed show tonight. We got some big-time college football news, which gets me juiced up because I love anything college football. But I wanted to remind you that we are presented by First American Bank and Trust, only the best bank in the entire world. Here in Athens, Georgia, First American has supported me, supported the Hammy Show, and they are our best friends because not only do they manage our money, but they are the presenting sponsor of the Hammy Show. So, guys, let's get into college football news. Big news today, or rather last night, Trinidad Chambliss is denied his 6th year of eligibility in college football. It was kind of expected because earlier this year, a decision from the NCAA already denied that. But based on what has happened in previous years, previous cases, as of recent in the NCAA, in college football, in men's basketball, in women's basketball, etc., is they thought once Trinidad Chambliss sued the NCAA on his own accord, individually, separate from Ole Miss, he would be granted that extra year of eligibility. The NCAA referenced that January 9th ruling and said it is an indefensible case. There is not enough medical documentation for him to get that medical redshirt year from his sophomore year at Ferris State about 4 years ago, which is absolutely insane. So will he or will he not? The official hearing is listed for February 12th, when we will really find out the true details and the true decision of what Trinidad Chambliss' future entails. But I have a few questions, some that came in on the mailbag, some that I just wanted to phrase to y'all. And that is, what is happening with the NCAA, and should players be allowed this many years in college? So let's have a little backstory. Let's have a little history lesson here on the Daily Ham, episode 6. Think back to last year. About this time, Diego Pavia had a hell of a season with Vanderbilt in 2024, and he was fighting for an extra year of eligibility to come back to Nashville and be the starting quarterback for the Commodores yet again. He was obviously granted that. And while it was such a joy to watch Pavia ball up, ball out every single weekend this college football season, he opened up a can of worms that can no longer be contained. It's like all the toothpaste squeezed out of the toothpaste bottle and none of it will go back in. That's what Diego Pavia did last year when he got that extra year of eligibility, and that's what we're running into. So, second part of the question, let's talk about, should players be allowed this many years in college? 6, 7, 8 years. Some guys have had 8 years of college eligibility in playing football, which is absolutely asinine. So I personally think, let me turn on the do not disturb real quick so y'all don't get these dings all day. So I'm on the side of it should be 4 hard years of college and a 5th for a severe medical red shirt. I'm talking a torn Achilles. I'm talking UCL surgery, Tommy John surgery for a baseball player. I'm talking nothing like a sprained ankle that causes you to miss 6 games toward the end of the season. That is absolutely asinine. That is stupid. That is crazy. It should be a hard 4, and that 5th should be granted in very, very special occasions. Getting into these 6th and 7th years of college, these guys are pro athletes at this point. Yes, I know a lot of them probably don't have a pro future, and so that's why they're coming back to college. Maybe they're trying to make a little NIL dime. Maybe they just have no pro future and they don't want to hang up the cleats. I get it. It's hard to hang up the cleats. I played sports in high school. It sucked when you played your last game as a senior in high school. I had COVID that interrupted my year, and it absolutely ruined baseball season, tennis, football, everything. So I just think now that COVID is over with, now that we don't have these extra COVID year eligibility rules with those 6th-year super seniors, whatever, it needs to go back to the hard 4 with a 5 if a special occasion permits. I know that there is so much to do with this with NIL because millions of dollars are at stake with Trinidad Chambliss. He just signed a massive deal with some Ole Miss donors to keep him in Oxford, Mississippi. Massive. I'm talking massive because not only did they have to worry about him going to the NFL or worrying about this extra year of eligibility, they had to worry about him transferring to LSU because of Lane Kiffin. So they signed him to a multi-million-dollar contract where he would soon be, next year, based on his performance toward the end of the 2025 season, be one of the faces of college football next year. So there's millions of dollars at stake, not only for the Ole Miss NIL fund, but there's millions of dollars at stake for TV money and ESPN money and SEC Network money because he is a money-grabbing, I'm not going to say it, but that type of person that just, he attracts the attention of the general football fan. You tune in on Saturday because you want to watch Trinidad Chambliss play. You want to watch him throw a 60-yard touchdown pass. You want to watch him run for a 40-yard touchdown. You want to watch him build a Heisman campaign. So it's absolutely asinine to get that 6th year. However, I understand from the player's perspective why they want it. It just can't happen. It cannot happen in college football any longer. These longtime college football athletes should no longer be allowed. So it not only has happened with Trinidad Chambliss now, but we have seen it across college football. We've seen it across college basketball as well. Joey Aguilar, another case, was a D2 player in 2019. Can you believe he played in 2019? Insane. He was enrolled at a Division II school in 2019, and he's fighting for that extra year of eligibility. So I was reading an ESPN article today from Wetzel, and Wetzel said it is all about 5-star judges, meaning you can go get these 5-star players. You can go get the Trinidad Chamblisses from the transfer portal. You can go get these absolute rock-solid athletes out of high school when they're seniors. But if you've got a judge in Athens, Clarke County, or in Oxford, Mississippi, or Knoxville, Tennessee, or Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Ann Arbor, Michigan, wherever, Columbus, Ohio, if you've got a 5-star judge that stamps his papers with a Roll Tide, or a Go Buckeyes, or a Go Dogs, or a Hotty Toddy, or he plays Rocky Top to dismiss court in Knoxville, Tennessee, well, then you have yourself a 5-star on your team. Because that judge can go get you some serious playing time and pass some seriously unruly rules to go get these players to come back for an extra year of eligibility. So it's all about not just having the 5-star players and a really good coach. It's about having the legal system on your side in these college towns, which is crazy that college football has turned into that. I'm going to take a quick sip of water before I get too heated. But not only are we talking about college football, we're talking about college basketball. Alabama just had a 7-footer play a week ago in the G League after 2.5 seasons in the G League, and he's starting for them on Saturday. How is that allowed? Like, can we get an eligibility check on Matthew Stafford? He has an extra year of eligibility, technically speaking, at the University of Georgia. Let's go get Matt Stafford, who just played for an NFC championship, 38 years old. We can bring him back to Georgia, right? That's what you're saying. A G League is a professional team. It is an NBA subset team. So how in the world is this happening? It's because these schools have college campuses that ride or die with their schools. They bleed their colors, and they've got 5-star judges on their side that are going to rule for these players to be in an extra year of eligibility in college. It's absolutely insane, and the NCAA has to keep it in check. But that's where the real problem lies, and this is where a whole new argument starts, and we get to go on another tangent. This is no longer about establishing guardrails. This is about establishing a road in which the guardrails can be on. There is no road right now. There is no path to success. There is no path. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is nothing. There is absolutely nothing in place, and there seems to be no answer in the future to put in place to make this even an argument. The NCAA has submitted countless bills to the House of Representatives, to the Senate, and it hasn't even made it to the floor because that's how much of a corrupt, non-functioning group of people the NCAA is. The NCAA has to be out of power. The student-athlete ruling is completely kaput. They are no longer student-athletes. We have to get to a collective bargaining. We have to sign them as employees. And we have, like, this is, there's so much that goes into it, and I can't even talk about it or else we'd be sitting here for 3.5 hours. So I'm going to leave it at that. Trinidad Chambliss should not be allowed to play. Will he get that access? I'd say it's 50-50, maybe 60-40 leaning he doesn't get to play. Joey Aguilar, we shall see. This fucking 7-footer, excuse my language, for Alabama, I don't even know how that's allowed. I mean, let's go get Tim Tebow to come back to Florida. It makes no sense to me. But before we get into some NFL news, because we're going to wrap it up for college football there, I just can't. I'm going to get too fed up. But we got to talk about Subaru. Hughes Subaru. I lost my train of thought there for a second. But Hughes Subaru is powering the Hammy Show on the road. They have gotten us to multiple destinations across the United States of America, all throughout college football season. And ladies and gentlemen, with college baseball about to kick up, with college basketball in the perfect swing of things, we're going to be hitting the road again, and it would not be possible without our friends at Hughes Subaru. So if you're in the market for a car, check out Hughes Subaru. If you have a Subaru and you need some work done to it, take it to the service department at Hughes Subaru, because I'm telling you, it is the best. We got B on TikTok. He said, neither should Aguilar. I'm with you. I'm with you because we'll just end the conversation there. I've talked too much about college football, and it just gets me so fed up. But let's talk Super Bowl. Let's talk NFL. The Seahawks, Nick Emmanwori, almost missed the Super Bowl. We had a big time question mark come out of Super Bowl practice week, and that is Nick Emmanwori. He has a low ankle sprain, but as of today, he will be playing on Sunday. Nick has been an absolute stud for the Seahawks defense all year long. He said at a press conference he is good to go. He's got a plan in place by his training staff to make it work. So we'll see if number 3 for the Seahawks is playing on Sunday and playing to the fullest of his ability, because he is a major key factor for that Seahawks team. I want to talk about the rematch that we have ahead of us. So obviously many people are going back a couple years, not a couple, it's been way longer than that, but to the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl when the Patriots and Seahawks met up. This marks the 10th ever rematch in Super Bowl history, a same repeat opponents on either side of the field for a Super Bowl. So that's a neat little stat. But let's talk about that game. Malcolm Butler, of course, intercepts Russell Wilson on the 1.5-yard line when they've got Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, in the backfield, and they don't hand it off to him. He's been up to that point, the most effective running back inside the 5-yard line in NFL history. And Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson decide to throw the ball. Insane. So that was just a moment that will forever be ingrained in my head. And when it panned to Tom Brady, I'm not a Seahawks fan, I'm not a Patriots fan, but when it panned to Tom Brady and he jumps up for I think that was his 5th Super Bowl, it will forever be burned right here, right on the temple. But a crazy Super Bowl, and yet again, we have a rematch for the 10th time in Super Bowl history. So a neat little tidbit there, entering Super Bowl LX60. Speaking of Tom Brady came out yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, and said he is Switzerland on this game. He does not have a team that he is rooting for. Despite spending most of his career in New England with the Patriots under Bill Belichick in Robert Kraft's franchise, he is not rooting for the Patriots. He's just cheering for a good game. Now, I want to say I'm calling BS on this, okay? Because Tom Brady is miles and miles and miles cheering for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And if you don't think so, you're absolutely crazy. Now, is he as big of a fan as he would have been if he just retired a Patriot and everything ended smoothly and, he was, I don't know, not on TV, not an owner of the Raiders, yes, he'd obviously be cheering for the Patriots. He does have to remain somewhat neutral because of the TV aspect, and he's got a dog in the fight in the NFL, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. He is a partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. That is his team now in the NFL. His team, I meant to put in quotations, not the NFL. And I don't know. I do think he will be not jumping up and down leaps of joy if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, or he will be crying on his way home from the Super Bowl if the Patriots lose. But I do think deep down in his heart, he knows he's cheering for the Patriots. Just something I wanted to bring to your attention. Let's talk about the betting market. The betting market is absolutely bonkers right now. Sports gambling has swept the nation, swept the world, and it is at an all-time high. A record-breaking $1.76 billion with a B dollars is expected to be bet on Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. That is insane. From prop bets and specialty novelty bets to money lines and over-unders, whatever, player props, it doesn't matter. First touchdown scores, $1.76 billion across the betting markets bet on the Super Bowl come Sunday. That is insane to me. I want to talk about a prop that I love. Jack Wright and I, a good buddy, sat down and did a Super Bowl preview 2 days ago. We put it out this morning. It is awesome. It is the best Super Bowl preview you could ask for. It is all the information you need to get you ready for Sunday, and we have it right here on The Hammy Show. Go to our YouTube channel, The Hammy Show, and find our Super Bowl preview. It's awesome. Jack Wright's pick on it will leave you speechless. It is amazing. One of the greatest Hammy Show moments that there is. I see some comments coming in on the TikTok and Instagram lives. We're going to get to those at the end for our mailbag segment, but I want to talk about this prop that I love. We talked about the props on the full Super Bowl preview, but there's one more that I wanted to add in there, and that is over 2.5 players to complete or just attempt to pass. Last year, Philly obviously rolls Kansas City. Kenny Pickett gets late in the game, and he throws a pass and completes it. But he attempted a pass. Everybody, a lot of the bettors that I listened to via podcast were fired up because they all had over 2.5 quarterbacks to complete a pass. 2.5 players. It doesn't have to be a quarterback. So here's your scenarios that can happen. Somebody boat races somebody, and the backup gets in, throws a pass. Or a trick play, and that's where my money lies. The Super Bowl is always known to be the last stop, obviously. The last stop of the NFL season. You put all your chips on the table. It's all the marbles for everything. They're pulling everything out of their bag. These coaches are. Mike McDonald and Mike Vrabel, you don't think they have something up their sleeve? They don't have a rabbit in the hat? Nah, these dudes are going to have something up their sleeves. There's a trick play in this game, and I think over 2.5 players throw a pass. It doesn't even have to be completed, but the odds of that happening is plus 175. Great value. You're in plus odds. I think hammer it. Just saying, that's a prop that I love and wanted to throw it in there. Let's talk about the athlete of the day. We're doing a special segment on social media, our athlete of the day every single day, and today is none other than Alex Morgan, the legendary U.S. women's national team soccer player. She has been a stud, a legend of the game, a proponent of women's athletics, a proponent of women's sports, women in sports. She is an absolute G, and she has fought for the rights of multiple women in sports across the world. Props to Alex Morgan. I remember growing up watching her win the World Cup, win the gold in the Olympics, and the KT tape or whatever tape headband just went viral. Every single girl at school was wearing that. Every single girl on the soccer field, on the basketball court was wearing that. Alex Morgan changed the game of soccer forever. So she is your athlete of the day, presented by Vinyl Frontier. Vinyl Frontier is the greatest record store in all of America. It is the number one spot to find anything on vinyl. I keep telling you, but the best part about the Vinyl Frontier there in Carrollton, Georgia, is the experience of going in the store, picking out a record, listening to it on the 8-track, talking to the guys in the store, and figuring out which type of music is your cup of tea and which record you want to buy from that artist. They have so many But if you can't make it to Carrollton, if you're not traveling down I-20 and make a pit stop over in the City of Dreams, then go to their website, vinylfrontier.com, and you can find any record, any vinyl in the entire universe. So our athlete of the day, presented by the Vinyl Frontier, is once again Alex Morgan. Let's get into golf. Let's hit the links. The PGA Tour is well underway. I'm fired up because golf is back, ladies and gentlemen, and the Waste Management, one of the all-time fan spectacles in any sport, is this weekend. It kicked off today, the first day of the 4-day tournament. Thursday at the Waste Management, the Phoenix Open. Awesome stuff. Chris Gotterup is leading as we speak right now at 8 under. He has a 2-stroke lead over second place Matt Fitzpatrick at 6 under. And guess who is absolutely shitting the bed? That is none other than Scottie Scheffler. World number 1 Scottie Scheffler had one of his toughest days in his PGA Tour career. Finishes at 2 over. But here's the craziest part. I was looking through the leaderboard. I saw some clips of Scottie getting frustrated on the course today. And I was like, where did Scottie end up? Tied for 97th at +2. But what are his betting odds right now? Scottie Scheffler is still plus 1,900, which sounds steep, and it is steep. I would not advise putting money on it, although you could get great value because you never know what Scottie Scheffler is going to do. And the betting markets know that because every single person, both 20 below and 20 above, are the next highest odds or best odds are plus 25,000. Scottie Scheffler is at plus 1,900. And he's tied for 97th after day 1. Crazy stuff from the world number 1. Crazy stuff from the betting market. It was tough to watch Scottie today, though. It was. Another big-time headline of the PGA Tour, Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka is struggling thus far, getting used to being back on the PGA Tour, being week in, week out competition, playing for money. I think he's 3 over right now. Let's make sure. I'm going to look it up to make sure so I don't lead you astray. Yes, 3 over, tied for 111th. That is Brooks Koepka. So a rude awakening for Brooks Koepka here on the PGA Tour thus far. Tough stuff from the 2-time Waste Management Phoenix Open champ, Brooks Koepka. But, guys, if you are not watching the Waste Management Open, you have got to tune in. It is the most electric golf tournament probably on tour. I love watching it. The 16th hole is one of the great fan spectacles in all of sports. All right. Let's wrap this thing up before we get to the mailbag with some NBA trade deadline news. It ended at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. We talked about it all week. We talked about some potentials that could happen. The big headlines of it were Giannis Antetokounmpo and Ja Morant. Would they leave Memphis and Milwaukee, respectively? It didn't happen. Really nothing happened this trade deadline. The biggest news is probably James Harden from the Clippers to the Cavs. Other than that, the trade deadline was kind of a dud compared to previous years. I mean, last year we had the biggest blockbuster trade. I mean, it was the equivalent of the Great Bambino, and that is Luka Doncic from the Mavs to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis and a few others and some picks. Nico Harrison needs to be fired in Dallas. I don't know if we've got any Dallas viewers on here right now, but I know you probably hate Nico Harrison. He's got to go. He trades away Anthony Davis. That was probably the next biggest headline of the trade deadline thus far, and that is Anthony Davis from the Mavs, who was part of that Luka trade, is now playing for Washington, partnering up with Trae Young, traded earlier in the year from the Hawks to the Wizards. So could the Wizards kind of turn it around? We shall see. But really nothing to report on from the NBA trade deadline. Bet of the day before we get to the mailbag, Lakers -3.5, hosting the 76ers tonight. We made money on the Lakers 2 or 3 nights ago, and we're riding with them again. It is officially the Luka Doncic show. LeBron has handed him the reins, and he knows it is no longer his team. It is Luka Doncic's team right now, and we love the Lakers tonight, -3.5. They are at home. I think that number's quite low. I think the Lakers run away with this one over the 76ers. But let's get into the mailbag. I know we had a few comments here on Instagram. Let me check real quick. We're scrolling. And let's see. How we doing, Thomas Roback? What's going on? We got a little what's going on from Thomas Roback. Nothing much, man. Just hosting a live here. Cade Black, there we go. I knew Cade Black would would hop in on here. Hammy, do you think there will be another tight end to come out of Georgia to achieve what Brock Bowers did? I know I saw earlier you asked about Brock Williams, the next Brock, who is now playing or committed to the University of Georgia. No, nobody will ever be Brock Bowers again. It is physically impossible. I don't think any tight end will achieve what he did in his 3 years at the University of Georgia. I remember looking at this picture, and it came up on my feed a few days ago, just a random algorithm finding, and it was Brock Bowers being interviewed at G-Day after he had declared for the NFL draft. He was on the way to Las Vegas to be a Raider, and I don't think he had yet to be drafted yet, but that doesn't matter. He was wearing a Mackey Award hat, and on the side of it, he had engraved two-time winner. He is the only person in the world that can wear that hat. There is no other person in the entire universe that has won the John Mackey Award twice except Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers will never be touched again among tight ends in college football. Will we see his NFL career pan out? I mean, he's been a stud. He's been an absolute G. And he's been just insane, but the Raiders just suck. And I really think he has the opportunity to be one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. So there's your Brock Bowers take. Will Brock Williams be him? I'm excited about Brock Williams, but he will never be Brock Bowers. I'm checking to see if we have any other comments. Let's see. I think we're good on the mailbag segment tonight, guys. So some major headlines we covered today to wrap things up. Trinidad Chambliss gets denied that extra year of eligibility from the NCAA. Joey Aguilar as well. NFL, Super Bowl week, it's ramping up. Today's kind of the day where the weekend starts and you really start feeling the juice of the Super Bowl. The articles start coming out, reports from Santa Clara, from Levi's Stadium, what's happening with the Seahawks, what's happening with the Patriots. I'm absolutely juiced up. We got the Seahawks winning it. Go check out our Super Bowl preview. Jack Wright and I did it here on the Hammy Show on YouTube. Covered a little waste management. Scotty Scheffler still plus 1,900 to win despite being tied for 97th at 2 over. Brooks Koepka sucking wind right now. And then the NBA trade deadline, which nothing really happened. So, guys, that does it for me here on the Hammy Show. We're going to check one more time. Thomas Roback, before we sign off, we got one more comment on the Instagram. I think Zach Branch going to take on that Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakir role. I would love to see Zach Branch in that role. I think Zach Branch is an immediate impact player in the NFL. I think he's primed to be a guy that you have to get the ball to. He is one of those slot receivers with that type of speed that is just special, and you can't not give him the ball. I think a Khalil Shakir comparison is a great comparison. I was thinking, let's see. I mean, he's faster than Ladd, but what Ladd's role is with the Chargers, I could see that. If he gets traded to some bummy team that doesn't have a true wide receiver one, I think Zach Branch is primed to be an immediate target for whatever quarterback that is. But I think he gets drafted to a team that has an established wide receiver one. I'm feeling the Steelers. That's a hot take, but you got DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh. You got Aaron Rodgers for potentially one more year. Zach Branch would be a great puzzle piece for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We shall see what happens to Zach Branch. But guys, that does it for me here on the Hammy Show. Daily Ham, episode 6. What a joy it has been to come live every single weeknight and bring y'all just the news around the world of sports. It has been awesome. As always, we are presented by First American Bank and Trust. This is the Hammy Show. This is episode 6 of the Daily Ham. I'm your host, Hammy Culpepper, and we are signing off. Always remember, ham it up.